in the U.S.
And tonight, some local students studying abroad are being told to come home. CBS 2's Dick Brennan in our newsroom now with more. Dick?
Christina Maurice, an outbreak in Italy is affecting two major U.S. universities. Syracuse's 342 students are being evacuated from a study program in Florence, and the same thing is happening to students there from NYU. Students at NYU's Florence campus are fleeing the spreading coronavirus. Some 300 have been told to head home, including 20-year-old Alvaro Barrera.
Last night at around 11:45, they told us to leave, and it was due to the coronavirus outbreak that was happening in northern Italy.
New cases have now spread from the north across the whole country into other countries: Austria, Croatia, Switzerland, France, and Spain. Another unrelated cluster has emerged in Iran, where a deputy health minister who appeared sick while downplaying the spread now admits he's tested positive for the illness. And now the Centers for Disease Control says it's not a matter of if, but when the coronavirus gets here.
We are asking the American public to work with us to prepare in the expectation that this could be bad.
The CDC wants parents of school children to prepare for a significant disruption and that they should ask their schools about plans for dismissal if the illness becomes serious. The president, for his part, sounded a positive note on preparedness.
I think it's going to be under control.
But to senators on Capitol Hill, not so much.
It seems to be getting worse, not better.
They grilled administration officials.
Mr. Secretary,
my budget
you're supposed to keep us safe.
My budget supports the men and women
You're
of the
the
Department of
Secretary of Homeland Security.
Yes, sir.
And you can't tell me if we have enough respirators.
Health and Human Services says they only have about 10% of the medical masks they need in a crisis.
Masks, protective suits, ventilators, anything is that stockpiled and ready?
So we do have in the Strategic National Stockpile ventilators, we have masks, we have...
Enough?
Well, of course not.
Of course not. Another question, the fate of the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. One IOC member says the Olympic Committee will need a 3-month window to decide whether the threat of the coronavirus is enough to call off the games. That would mean a decision would have to be made sometime in May. Maurice.
Okay, Dick Brennan in the newsroom. Thank you. And fears over the growing impact of coronavirus fueled another day of sharp losses on Wall Street. The Dow losing nearly 880 points, capping its worst two-day loss in history. The S&P was down close to 98, and the Nasdaq dropped 255.
To Charleston, South Carolina, and the last Democratic debate before Super Tuesday.
The candidates went after each other and fought for almost every issue, but overriding everything, the question of who has the best chance of defeating President Trump. CBS 2 political reporter Marsha Kramer has the story.
It was dump on Bernie night. The 6 other Democrats on the South Carolina debate stage desperate to claw the Vermont senator from the top of the leaderboard, questioning the electability of the self-proclaimed Democratic socialist.
Can anybody in this room imagine moderate Republicans going over and voting for him? And you have to do that or you can't win.
No, I am the only one in the New Hampshire debate when asked if we had a problem with the socialist leading the ticket that raised my hand.
If you keep on going, we will elect Bernie. Bernie will lose to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump and the House and the Senate and some of the state houses will all go red. For the next 20 or 30 years, we're going to live with this catastrophe.
Senator Sanders was blasted for everything: fuzzy math in his Medicare for All plan, his gun record.
150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability. More than all the wars.
I have cast thousands of votes, including bad votes. That was a bad vote. I have today a D- voting record from the NRA.
CBS White House correspondent Major Garrett asked Sanders, who is Jewish, about calling a major Jewish lobbying group a platform for bigotry, and questioned whether he would move the American embassy back to Tel Aviv.
The answer is it's something that we would take into consideration.
You can't move the embassy back.
And there was also Bloomberg attempting a comeback from his disastrous first debate, slamming President Trump for not taking the coronavirus seriously enough.
What's really happening here is the president fired the pandemic specialists in this country 2 years ago. So there's nobody here to figure out what the hell we should be doing. And he's defunded Centers for Disease Control.
Trump scoffed at that, tweeting, "If the virus disappeared tomorrow, they would say we did a really poor and even incompetent job. So far, by the way, we have not had one death."
As you see, the stock market's falling apart because people are really worried, and they should be. We don't have anybody to respond.
Well, Elizabeth Warren and Bloomberg got into another scuffle about her charges he fostered a hostile work environment at his company. Meanwhile, just before the debate, Team Bloomberg announced a key endorsement from former New York City Mayor David Dinkins, the first African-American to win the post. Maurice and Christine.
Fair to say he had a better night.
He had a much better night.
Okay, Marcia.
It's on to Super Tuesday.
Yes, it is. Thank you.